Over the weekend, President-elect Donald Trump finally waded into the fight between Elon Musk and his MAGA adherents, including people like Ann Coulter and Laura Loomer. Oh boy. Big surprise, Trump backed his fellow billionaire. Because of course he did. In fact, in an interview with the New York Post, he said, "I've always liked the visas. I've always been in favor of the visas. That's why we have them. I have many H1B visas on my properties. I've been a believer in H1B. I have used it many times. It's a great program." Ooh, yeah, I'm sure he has. I mean, the program gives a lot of power to employers to control that guest worker's life. Yeah, and to underpay them, of course. So, yeah, it's not at all shocking for me to see Donald Trump backing this program, even though, to be fair, during his first term, he did curtail it just a little bit. However, you could argue that reducing the number of H-1B visas available actually makes it even more cutthroat for the applicants and makes them even more willing to be exploited by their bosses. So, I mean, you know, could see that. But then again, getting back to Laura Loomer and Coulter, that's not the real reason that they say that this program needs to be reformed, or in this case, just completely get rid of it. No, they're not looking out for the American workers. They're not looking out for the Indian workers, obviously. They're basically, hey, we want to ban immigrants because we believe that they're culturally inferior to us. And maybe even genetically inferior to us. Like, that's the real impetus behind that. Okay. That said, the billionaires, they love the program, not because it helps, you know, bring in the top talent. No, it's because it exploits immigrants and allows them to pay substandard wages. No one here has the American or the Indian workers' best interests in mind here. At least no one in MAGA. Now, Warren Gunnels, a progressive advisor to Senator Bernie Sanders, on Friday, he pointed this out. He said, look, billionaires want you to wage a culture war while they win the class war. And that is 100%. There is a big problem with these visas. And it ain't the workers' fault. It's not the American workers' fault. It's not the Indian workers' fault. Okay? It is the companies for abusing this thing. Okay? This visa. Last year, the EPI, the Economic Policy Institute, put out a report saying that H-1B visas were not being used to fill genuine labor shortages in skilled occupations without negatively impacting U.S. workers' wages and working conditions. The program's biggest users, they found, were companies that actually laid off thousands of workers in 2022 and 2023. And we know, of course, that labor is the biggest expenditure when it comes to these companies. And so when it comes to most companies, labor is the biggest thing. You got to pay your workers, right? And well, these companies are like, actually, no, wrong. We're not going to pay them. We're going to go and abuse this program, import a bunch of workers, guest workers that we can control. And then if they complain, send them right back. That's it. That's what's going to happen. Now, according to Ron Hira, EPI's Director of Immigration Law and Policy Research, along with Daniel Costa, writing in this report, the rest of the companies that dominate the program have an outsourcing business model that exploits the program by underpaying skilled migrant workers and offshoring U.S. jobs. Yeah. Hira writes, employers favor guest workers because they have fewer rights and less bargaining power. Guest workers are guests in a country. They stay only if they meet the visa rules, and it's only for a temporary period. They live in a constant state of precarity. The government gives employers enormous control over its guest workers. So, yeah, you see why Elon Musk and Donald Trump love this program? I mean, cheap, compliant workers. It's a capitalist dream. Okay. There's more from Hira. He writes, the U.S. Labor Department has set the H-1B minimum wages far below market wages. Employers can and do pay H-1B workers much less than market rates. While H-1B workers can change jobs, they have far fewer employment options and job mobility than U.S. workers. Many call their employment situation indentured servitude. Yeah, remember that? It's back. Because they are effectively bound to their employer. Employers control the visa so they can exercise extraordinary bargaining power over their H1B workers on wages and working conditions. Now, reporter Ryan Grimm adds this: any visa program that makes the boss a feudal lord over the worker with the threat of deportation looming is bad in principle. Lots of good ways to improve it and make conditions better for all workers and also grow the economy. Now, you notice I kind of laughed a little bit because I thought of an Elon Musk tweet, right? Where he's like, I don't like unions because I don't like anything that creates a lord and a serf relationship. And so right there, I was reading that and I was like, wait a minute. You know, Musk uses and defends H1Bs. Donald Trump uses and defends H1Bs. And it's because it creates a feudal lord serf situation. Huh. Yeah. Very interesting. Some irony here. Maybe lots of it. That said, look, overall, my take on all this is I welcome immigrants. Immigrant worker, of course I do. Of course I do. And so do progressives, right? That said, I don't want them coming over here to be exploited. I don't want any workers exploited, whether it be American workers, Indian workers, Chinese workers, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Mexican workers, I don't want anybody to be exploited. And we should have an economy that is not based on exploitation. Okay? It wouldn't be nice. It would be nice, wouldn't it? To have an economy that is not based on exploiting someone down the line. But then again, that's how a lot of these rich people get rich, through some level of exploitation. Okay. And by the way, I also don't want American workers to be, to be basically the second choice, right? Because this Indian worker will work for less and will have less rights than an American worker. I don't want that to happen either. And I don't believe that Elon Musk and Donald Trump want to fix that system. And it's because, of course, they directly benefit from keeping the system as it is. If anything, Trump may cut the number of visas further. But, okay, what would that do? Well, that would just make even more competition for what little visas there are, even more, cutthroat, okay? To make even more people even more desperate to come in and do whatever the boss wants. So again, that's one of the issues. But I think that's as far as Trump will go. He'll do that, and then, distract the rest of MAGA, who might be mad about, not doing away with the program completely, because they never do that. But try to distract them with like the immigrant roundup, okay, which is pretty popular among Republican voters, unfortunately. I mean, a full 46% of Republicans support using the military to round up undocumented immigrants and put them in camps, literal camps, okay? So, I mean, talk about not learning the lessons of history. I mean, the last time America put people in camps during World War II, and it was an absolute humanitarian disaster and a shame on our country, a stain on the history. And here's Republicans saying, oh, actually, you know what? That was a great idea. Let's do that again. Jesus. But, if he does do that for real, by the way, I'm certain that the far right's going to forget about all this as they revel in the misery that this will ultimately unleash. They love the cruelty. The cruelty is the point. Although I suppose time will only tell, but overall, I think that this, I don't think this will be the last time that the billionaire Donald Trump puts his class interests above the desires of MAGA. It ain't going to be America first. It's billionaires first. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.